Right, guys, welcome back to part two. We're going to continue the conversation with Ifethebaker, and I hope that you're getting something valuable out of this episode.
Hi, you're listening to Stretch Street Podcast.
Stretch Street Podcast
Stretch Street with the energetic EJ.
with the energetic EJ.
With the energetic EJ.
Don't stop listening.
Hi, and welcome to Stretch Streets.
2017, we now gave birth to my son, who was, his birth, everything was fine. But when he was now 4 months, we wanted to now introduce, of course, formula into his diet. And then that's when we now discovered that the formula we bought, he started having skin reactions, he was having blisters. And the science, the medical background in me just
Picked it up immediately, like
picked it up immediately because
something is
off. So we checked the packaging, and we discovered that there's wheat in it, and I was like, okay, wheat, are these signs of wheat allergy?
Since
so
you
I
have
just
also
said,
experienced it when you were growing up.
when I was growing up. So I said, okay, let's stay him off anything that has wheat. So we started making sure we looked for any formula that is free from wheat. So we go for a formula that maybe is based on millet, formulas that are based on corn, formulas that are based on, let's say, cassava granules like a tapioca, and it was doing fine. But along the line, I started growing up, he was now one, we discovered that he was still having these allergies. So we started searching. We discovered that even it might not necessarily be just wheat, but even there are so many grains that are also in the same class of wheat, like your semolina. We discovered that semolina, yes, is actually in the same class with wheat. We discovered that barley, which is barley wheat. So now we used to take cornflakes. We discovered that some of these cornflakes, they are flavored with malt. Malt is a byproduct of barley, so it will have a reaction.
Wow.
We discovered that if we buy sausages for him to eat with his bread, some of these sausages, when we read the labels, they will write fillings, ingredients. We'll see things like cereal. When we now go down, we discover that those cereals are actually, they bulk these meats up with wheat to make them, so you'll be surprised. The food industry, that's why when you read labels, sometimes all these labels, they don't write everything. They might write coloring EX something. Some of these colorings, they are carcinogenic, but they will not write it there.
Wow.
So that's why I always tell myself that just because something says FDA approved doesn't mean it's safe for you. Like, in fact, and this goes back to even me being a pharmacist. Sometimes I remember then when I used to work in the hospital, when doctors would say they want this particular medication. And I'm like, okay, you want this particular medication. What if we now discover that this medication you are hell-bent on wanting would lead to some kidney damages to this patient? Would you still want that? Would you go for the alternative? You go for the alternative. So there is no need. So, and I'll say it too, it's big corporations. The big corporations are making so much money. So you hardly find them sponsoring anything that has to do with special food preferences, because to them, they're not making much money from it.
It's not lucrative.
It's not lucrative for them. You not see pharmaceutical companies sponsoring the use of supplements, because it's
it's against their own money making schemes.
They are not looking at their own line of treatment is, let us look for the fire and let us douse the fire. They're not looking at, okay, what is causing these fires in the first place.
Let the cause be continue. We will know what antidote it's. Wow.
Yes, and that's why the same thing goes with doctors. Doctors will say, oh, why are you taking supplements? Why are you taking vitamins? You are eating healthy. You are eating, your food has all the benefits. But I tell some of my clients that, your body says you need so amount of vitamin A, B, C daily. Are you, first of all, even taking your vegetables regularly? When last did you have your, I'm not saying go and buy your packaged orange juice because you don't know what they've added to it. When last did you go to the market and say, okay, every day I'm taking freshly squeezed orange, nothing added? When last did you say, okay, every morning I'm having pineapples, I'm having watermelons regularly? Even the vegetables that you are saying you are eating, do you eat them? When last did you have a bowl of salad? Even they say, okay, as we in Nigeria, that we take our vegetables, how was it prepared? You need to know that these vegetables, little heat, they lose their nutrients. You will cook your vegetable, you put it on fire, you will cook. And you're saying you're eating vegetable. You're not eating any vegetable. You're just eating. So that's why you need to supplement. That's why they're called supplements. They're not saying they are food. They're just supplementing.
So they're not saying they
your
are
meal.
food. Neither are they saying they are drugs. They are supplement. They are replacing the nutrient that you don't already have.
Yes, because sometimes you have your rice and stew with chicken. The tomatoes that has your antioxidants, that has your 𝐠𝐭, because tomatoes is very rich in 𝐠𝐭. Your carrots that has beta carotene is a very powerful antioxidant. Sometimes you eat them, but you don't eat them regularly. Because just as the way you need food in your system to give you energy for your daily activities, you also need these antioxidants daily because you are exposed to the elements. You know that a lot of Nigerians don't know that they need to be using sunscreen. Let's even just talk about how, yes, they need sunscreen. That's
Please, we are plenty on the table because, like, what's the point? Well, let sun beat us. It has stayed. We are okay.
We need sunscreen, and that's why it's called that. You now be seeing people in their 70s jogging in their estates. It's already too late. It's now in your 30s, in your 40s, to live an optimum life. You can live till 90, very agile, but it is what you do with your body now. Let's even not even talk about allergies. Let's even talk about your body. Your body is a machine that when it was in its prime, that's between the day when you were born and your 20s, it was in its prime. When you are reaching 30, you are your plateau. 30, 40s, you're already in the plateau. So the way you used to expose yourself in your prime, you cannot expose yourself when you're in the plateau. Because at the plateau, your body just leave me. Just let me be. It's like when you just buy your generator, when you first buy it, you can put on your AC, well, depending on how many power house they had. You can put on your generator, so you can put on your AC, you can put on your TV, you can put on your fridge, freezer. But by the time 1 year, 2 years, you discover that when you put on your AC, it will make a sound.
Like load is becoming too much.
It's too much because of wear and tear. But your generator can still last as long as you always
service it,
you service it. Then you replace all those bolts, those rings that are already, because there's no how. It will wear and tear. It's the same. It will wear out. All your vintage cars, the reason why you still have them exist is because the parts that they were in those cars in the 70s and 60s, they're not the parts that are in them now. The body is still fine. They've changed the internal parts. So it's the same thing with the body. If you want your body to last long, you have to nourish it. And it's not by your EBA. It's not by your, no, in fact, the food you eat, what your body needs is the vitamin E, the vitamin C, the iron, the calcium, the protein from the right source. It's not even the seasoning. It's not the Maggi. It's not the sweetness of the food.
Sometimes some of these things don't even have enough of those nutrients because also of the, like you said, industrialization.
Yes.
What did you say the other time about altering of some of the DNA?
Yes, they've changed them.
Yeah,
they've stripped them.
Exactly. So most of these things don't even have all the nutrients there. Hence the need to actually, have supplements so that your body can still have the amount of vitamins that it needs. Now, can you land us on this story of how, from all the stories you've talked about, how you kept digging and digging? It felt like a never ending hole.
Like a rabbit hole.
Do you understand? And for me, as you spoke, it's a bit scary, honestly. Now, this is you who are in the medical field. You are a pharmacist. So you kind of have that affiliation or that understanding, plus the fact that you already experienced something close while you were growing up as a child. So those things gave you those alerts for you to know, oh, something is wrong here. Let me find. So imagine for somebody who has no clue of these things, like as you were speaking, I'm like, do you know how many people have suffered from allergies and they have no clue that they were allergies? Some will mystify it and say it's village people that are following them. Some will mystify it because, again, imagine you just suddenly your body is itching or your body is well from nowhere. Say, hey, my enemies are after me, So they have no clue that allergy is a thing to be looked into. And like you said, as far as, hey, sausages, the thing that they used to do, the sausage can, cause an effect to somebody who is eating. What did you come up with? But importantly, as you share those stories, kindly help us highlight some of the life lessons that you have taken away from them, even as you educate us, because honestly, this is education for us as well, like helping us become aware of the things that we are overlooking when it comes to what we eat, especially, and what our body are susceptible or acceptable to. Yeah. So as you share and go into it, just at every point, pick out some of the life lessons, that you've learned from me. Thank you so much.
Okay. So for me, one thing that has actually kept me in my mission is one day I just sat down and I said, okay, I want to empower people to make better food choices. I mean, that basically summarizes it. Now, so I'm not here to say, oh, ice cream is bad for you. Oh, don't have your pizza because I mean, this is life. I actually take pizza, But what I just want people to understand is that, the choices you make, the power is in your hands by the choices you make. Now, I just place this illustration for people that care to listen to me. I said, do you want to live in your 60s, 70s, popping pills for the rest of your life? I mean, even when you have malaria, for us in Nigeria, when people have malaria or maybe they have an infection, to finish the course of treatment is an issue. Patient compliance is so poor. And that's why, drug formulation, they're always looking at, okay, how can we make patient compliance improve? Because the challenge is that if you don't comply with your medications, if you come down with that disease again, there's a chance that the initial medication might not work again because your body has developed resistance or the infection has the causative agent has developed resistance. So you have to use something stronger. And sometimes when you use something stronger, the side effect might also be worse. So, so I always say this, that I want to empower people basically to make better food choices. So the power is in your hands, there's an adage that most people say, they said it's something that will kill me. But I feel that is said in ignorance.
Oh, die now, die.
Because you want to live a happy life. You want to live a fulfilled life. You want to end your years agile. Even if you're going to go, you want to go on your own terms. That, oh, I've run my race, I've finished my course, it's time to go.
And I'm ready to transition.
I'm ready. You don't want to be wheeled to the toilet. You don't want to be fed with a tube. I mean, what kind of life is that? So for me, that's what started the journey. That, okay, now, would I say that I'm perfect? No. There are days that I say, okay, I feel like eating meat pie, and I'll go for it. But that is not my lifestyle. I try to ensure. So one thing I'm going to say is that first, you must ask yourself, do you want to live your life on your optimum best? You want to live your life on your optimum best. That's the first thing. So you have to, because the thing is that you must know your why, on why you do this thing. And it's not just about even food, life in general. What is your why? What drives you? So that will keep you going, because sometimes this journey is not easy, you know. I mean, there are days I remember then when we go to, in fact, there was a time we stopped going out, because when we go to eateries, there's nothing that is on the menu for my son. Yes, because if you want to go to some of these popular eateries, you don't know what they fried their chicken in. They might have used that same oil to fry chicken that has been coated in flour. Sometimes some of these eateries, the food that is served is actually from a factory that has processed it. You don't know the ingredients that they processed the food in. Now, abroad, they are becoming more aware because of litigation. You know, litigation has made a lot of them step up their game. Nobody wants to be sued. So they write everything boldly on their packages. So the thing is your why. Then the thing is, I always tell people that also you should be ready to be empowered with information. There's so many information out there. In fact, there are some information that I've read that they said vitamin C actually even causes cancer. You'll be surprised.
But again, that's the thing. Let me just pause you there. That's the thing. Because I feel like that's why people just, all die and die. At the end of the day, nobody's going to transition and leave this world to the next realm without dying. So let's just enjoy our lives as we can. Because again, there's so many things coming up. At some point, they were like, egg is good, is healthy. And the next thing, egg is bad. So which do we go with? How do we know which is good and which is bad? Like, there are too many information out there that can cause confusion or cause fear, and we do not want to live in fear. So how would you, let's come to that, like how would you help people? What would you say to somebody like a parent, for example, who is not even sure, who does not know, but I know that my child, it's a lot to unpack here, honestly, because some parents or some of us are not even aware enough to know that every time this child eats this thing happens. We don't even know. To be able to now say, oh, this is the cause of it. Like, every time this thing happens, this is the effect. We don't even know. So what would you say to people like who are like absolutely clueless about these things? And to be honest, they are like just not interested, because again, it's like, it's the same reason why people from Nigeria would rarely go for medical checkup, because it's like, please, I don't want to know. I'd rather let it happen, bitch. Like, hey, I have a headache. Hey, okay, than for me to walk into the hospital with my 2 legs, and then they will not tell me that something I don't want it. The fear of like, let me not just want it, right? What would you say to them when it comes to allergy and what we eat here?
Okay, now, I mean, that's a very beautiful question you asked. One thing I discovered with my going to 16 years of practicing, especially, and luckily for me, I practice both in retail, as community practice, and I've worked in a hospital. I discovered that people want to be empowered with information. I mean, let me be honest with you. Every time I educate clients, they are so grateful. Everybody wants to be empowered. It's almost like you have a laptop. When you first get the laptop, you know the on button. But if you get an IT person that shows you so much more that laptop has to offer, you are blown away. And you're like, wow, so just this little device can serve me so much. So I think the challenge is that the people in the sector, which is the medical sector, the health sector, they're not doing enough to empower people with this information, because they, like I said, they don't see the relevance. They don't see what is in it for them. And that's why abroad, especially in the foreign countries like the European countries, America, litigation has made them wake up. Abroad, America. Okay, now why did we start health and safety agencies in Nigeria? Because abroad, health and safety is key now. Because if you're a cleaner and you're mopping a section of the floor and you don't put the caution sign there, and somebody passes, he visibly sees that you're mopping. He visibly sees that the floor is wet, but he still chooses to pass, and he slips. You know that you are liable for damages, and they will sue you, and they will win in court. So a lot of us in Nigeria, I think maybe because of the challenge of the economy, I mean, let's be honest, the economy is quite challenging. So people are just looking for what to eat. I mean, let's just first eat. So people don't even want to care. So that's the challenge I discovered. But still, most people that I've met, whenever they come in contact with such information, because what I always tell them is that when you are empowered with this information, it even saves you money.
If I hear you clearly, what you're saying now to parents or people generally who are listening to this or watching this, when they're like, okay, like, so what do we do? Because there's so many information, too much information. I'm not even sure where to start from. Again, you've like creatively highlighted some of the challenges, why people don't pay attention to these things. But then the question is, how or what should they do? What is one, two, three things that they can do? So with all the challenges, let me put it like that, because you've pointed some of these challenges out right now. With all those challenges that are well glaring, what can they do to still move the needle forward in regards to being particular about what they eat and be sure that, whatever it is that they're eating is nourishing to their body, and then they're not facing allergies that they are not even aware of? What can they do?
Okay, now one of the first things I'll say is that be curious. Be curious. And what I'm saying that is that, sometimes there's this saying that I've heard. They said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. If you are really interested in such information, when you go on that journey, you will connect. Now, okay, let me start with this. Let's go to parents that are in churches. There's always a women's forum. There's always a women's forum. And most of the time, I discover that most times, how have I even been able to get clients that have come to work with me? It was why maybe a woman had an issue with her child. She saw my post somewhere and she got interested and she was like, okay, can you tell me more? And I was able to formulate something for her. Then another thing again is, even if you don't know what to do, you can first of all, at least go to your primary healthcare provider. Whatever information they give you, they will always refer you to a consultant. Now, with our case, because I always like to take it to a personal point, with our case, we were just assuming, there was nothing to back up our claim. We just felt that, okay, if I introduce my son to wheat, he would have reaction. But we still had to see a pediatrician. It was when we now saw the pediatrician, he now ran a test that now showed that indeed my son has food allergies. So we're now like, okay, so it's of a fact now. So you can't just sometimes assume that, okay, is it all in my head? You have to see a medical professional to certify that, okay, all this is not in your head. Because there's no how. You always meet a medical professional that is, it might not even be grounded in that knowledge. He'll always refer you. Because from there, we now were referred to a dietitian. And of course, with my own background knowledge, I did more research. And then that was where I was able to now discover products that I could use. It wasn't as if, and I must say this, a lot of times people are afraid that, okay, after we've discovered this problem, do we have a solution? You'll be surprised that all the ingredients I use are locally sourced. They're not foreign. So first of all, when you have discovered that you have this challenge, you must see a medical practitioner. From the medical practitioner, they will now refer you to a consultant that would help you run a test to show that, yes, indeed, you have these allergies. Then when it now comes to a solution, definitely, you have to go out. You have to seek knowledge. Just as the way before we became doctors, engineers, lawyers, we had to seek knowledge in university. So you have to go out and seek knowledge. Look for forums. Now, there are a lot of forums out there. I think the dietitian community, they have a body in Nigeria. I don't belong to it. I'm not yet sure. But even if you go to pharmacies, if you go to supermarket, if you ask around, because like yesterday, I went to a supermarket and I saw gluten-free snacks on the aisle. I was so surprised. Now, people now are more aware that people are reading labels now. So labels, you'll be surprised, even labels in Nigeria, they're now writing gluten-free, dairy-free on it, because people are well-traveled now. People are reading things online. People are watching the news. They're informed. I know now with the advent of social media, one post about your product can destroy your reputation.
True.
So people are becoming more deliberate about what they put out there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants, because, bad news travel fast. So if you say, oh, I'm targeting the market that has gluten issues, you must ensure that your product, your packaging is well labeled with that. So parents that have these issues, see a medical practitioner. You can even go to a pharmacy. You can ask a pharmacist that, okay, I'm having these issues. Can you direct me to where I can get more knowledge on what to do, on how to treat this? Then, of course, by the time you see a medical practitioner, he would also refer you to a consultant. Like we now, when we had the challenge with our son, we saw a dermatologist who actually now told us the condition my son with. So we had to actually go through some treatments. And from there, we're now introducing new meals to him.
Meals to him, fantastic.
Yes, and from there, I mean, we're able to solve our problem.
Fantastic. So, as we round off this session again, I'm really curious to know if there are any specific life lessons that this journey has taught you. I know here and there you might have mentioned it in the way that you said your story, but again, it's that some people just prefer for things to be itemized, right? So that they can go away with that, like, oh, okay, this is what I'm taking out from this conversation. What are some life lessons that your journey so far has taught you? Just share a couple, 1, 2, 3 with us as we round off the session. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I would say is that the first thing I got to understand from every challenge I face is that your problem is actually it's how will I put it this way now? There's a bigger picture in that seemingly challenging problem that you have. There's a bigger picture. It's not about you. There's a bigger message out there. That's one thing I realized, that when we're going through the challenge, when I was going through my own challenge, I was asking myself why. But when I now had my own son with our challenge, I now discovered that there was a bigger purpose to this. There's a bigger purpose. So that's one thing I learned. There's a bigger purpose. It's not about me anymore. In fact, there was a day I was driving out and I was looking at the thousands of Nigerians that I see on the streets. And I realized that a lot of them have medical challenges, but just because they don't know how to get the right information. So what role am I playing? And so that's why I'm telling you, if immediately I saw, and you see, and that's the thing about when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I just stumbled upon your post and I just said, oh, this is another way for my voice to be heard on this. That I should not say, oh, am I an expert? Oh, do I have the qualifications? Oh, is anybody going to critique what I'm saying? It's more that there's a life that I'm saving from this information when it goes out there. Now, let me just say this. There was a child, in fact, this story I'm saying, the mother has turned it into a foundation. Her son actually had gluten allergies. In fact, his own was so severe that there's a shot he carries around, epinephrine. It's a shot that actually helps to stabilize the immune response. Because some people, when they have their own immune response, they can die from it. It can lead to death. So he carries a pen. So anytime he eats something that he shouldn't eat, they quickly give him a shot. They went on vacation, and they already told the chef in the restaurant that we have this allergy. So please ensure that whatever you are bringing to our table doesn't have anything with wheat. Unfortunately, I think maybe the spoon they used, or maybe, I really can't remember the story, but the child ate it and he went into an anaphylactic shock. With the pen at their disposal, the child still choked because his esophagus swelled up and he couldn't breathe. So he died from, I think, expatiation. So, and he was, I think, maybe 10 or 11. He died. And these are foreigners. These are, I think they're Americans or so, or maybe Europeans. I can't remember. Yes. So, so the mother now started a foundation on that case. So I think she started that, okay, badges. People should wear badges that I have gluten allergies. Then let me even shock you. Children with autism, they've actually discovered that children with autism, they do better on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. Their cognitive response, their cognitive abilities improves. In fact, this one, I have a research paper on it that I saw, from, I think, British Medical Journal, that children on a gluten-free, casein-free, in fact, they call the GFCF diet, they fare better in class. So when I started reading this, I knew that I had to put my voice in it. In fact, I actually went for a conference last year. I was a speaker on that issue. It was for children that have autism. I had to educate them that, okay, because, parents are so like, biscuits. There's no biscuit that is gluten-free. There is no, what would I eat? What would I do? I had to start introducing, and that's why I
the
now said, okay,
alternatives.
yes, I had to start letting them know that your children can even take oats. Oats are gluten-free. Your tapioca granules, which is made in Nigeria, they're gluten-free. There's so many things that are gluten-free. You don't have to feed them bread. You don't have to feed them. Even we have this noodles. It's like it's made of rice. They're available in Nigeria. If I'd have gone to supermarkets, I buy it for my son. And I've gone to supermarkets, and even some of the staff in the supermarket, they'll ask me that, Oga, what do you use this thing for? That's the staff in the supermarket. They don't even know. So people need to be empowered.
We need more people
awareness.
to talk. Yeah, we need to create more awareness about these things to help people understand better. So thank you so much for actually reaching out. And this is what I would always say to people, like you said, the one lesson that like you really hammered on, it's more like it's all encompassing, saying that whatever challenges that you're going through, it's not just for you. It is also because somebody else, it's like down the line, you are going to meet somebody that would have the same challenge, that you will be well equipped to help the person because you've been through it, you understand the road, you'll be able to say, I've been here before. Can I help you? Can I be your guide? Can I support you through this season? Because I've been there myself, right? So that is very, very powerful. And I also like the fact that, you said, what is my role in all of this? Like, okay, why am I here? How can I make a difference, no matter how tiny, right? How can I make a difference so that, whatever it is that I'm doing, it's going to help somebody else. It's going to inform somebody, even if it's the information that they get, it's going to help them make better decisions, right, going forward. So thank you so much for coming out to speak. I feel like
thank you so much for having me.
You are so sold out to this cause that you can be on a platform and speak for hours and not get tired of speaking. And even especially giving, I mean, even the way you speak, I know that you're not just speaking maybe from what you've read or anything there, because every time you speak, you remember a story of something that buttresses what you're talking about, right? So it goes to show how much you're dedicated to this path and how much impact you really want to make in the lives of people. So I celebrate that in you, and I'm hoping that you will have more platforms to be able to talk about this. And I'll think about something and see how I can also support in pushing that narrative forward, because again, I'm not the healthy, I'm not so like into that space a lot, but I've also come to appreciate like fitness and things like that, and I know that this information would be very, very useful to people who would need it. All right, so yeah. But thank you so much for coming up to share your story and to share the lessons that this story or your journey so far has taught you. Now I know that you are a baker and you have a couple of products in the market, that you have created to help people who are with allergies. So gluten-free confectionaries and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that and how we can how people can access it. So I mean, my podcast is a bit all over, right? So I know you're in Nigeria, so but just speak to me so that those who are in Nigeria can benefit from it. But again, it's I don't know, you never can tell if somebody outside of Nigeria might also feel like, oh, okay, let us point this guy out, let us check him out and see what he's up to. So tell us about your products and how people can get a hold of it.
Okay, so I mean, like I said, I run a bakery, and of course, by virtue of my son, I had to start looking for alternatives because he has to celebrate his birthday. And I mean, there was no product out there that could cater to his own special needs. So I had to develop my own recipes. So, but I discovered that I wanted something that was readily available for children. And then what I discovered is that what is that one thing that children take to school most of the time, apart from their biscuits? children must have, because most times now children have their snack time, and they have I think they have two breaks. They have short break, long break. So maybe the short break, they have their cookies or biscuits or chin with their drink, and then the long break, they have their main meal. So I said, okay. And of course, the ones that we saw in the Nigerian markets were foreign, and most of the time, okay, foreign first of all, sometimes not readily available. Then another thing, the cost. I mean, a woman that, let's say, she buys her cookies, let's say 50, 100 naira, for you to tell her to be buying 1,000 naira cookie for snack time, she'll say no. I might as well just scrap it. And it's not fair when a child is in the class and every other child is having their own cookies and he can't have any. So I said, okay, let me just concentrate on making gluten-free cookies using locally sourced materials, things that I know that I can readily get. So I started making cookies. So I have 4 varieties of cookies right now. I have my cinnamon crunch cookies, which is like my best seller. I have my chocolate chip cookies. I have my ginger spice cookies, and I have my dark fudge cookies. So, of course, these cookies, it was I mean, with years of trial, and of course, using my son as my guinea pig, because I had to make sure he likes it. I don't just want to put out something that, just because you don't have, I don't want to just put out an alternative that, okay, since you can't take cookies, have this. I wanted something that at least you know you're not missing out. So even my friends, family members, when I tell them that these are made with locally sourced grains, they don't believe it. So for now, we're still working on getting them on stores. So what I do now is that you can reach me on my social media handle, basically my Instagram handle, that's Ifethebaker, just like my name is. And most times what they do is that people send me DMs. So I supply people, I supply families. Then also, from time to time, maybe if anyone, because I have a lady also, she has gluten allergies. So sometimes she sends me DMs that she wants maybe some confectionery. So I also cater to private needs also. So personal needs, maybe you want something, maybe bread, you want pastry, you want a cake for your child who has gluten sensitivity. So people can also DM me. So for now, it's through the DM I get my orders.
Oh, okay. That's are you are you ready for the DMs? Like, what if there is a floodgate of heaven and then their DMs are rushing in? I hope you're ready to get all the orders and
we're always ready.
Awesome. This has been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
I look forward to maybe, having you on another platform, or maybe come back again to speak more to this topic and everything, because I see your passion and your desire to really give out information, to educate and sensitize the people on what is, so that they are able to make better decisions when it comes to food and not give up totally or mystify what actually has a solution. Because, with allergies, some people are like, there's nothing they can do about it, but actually there's something you can do about it. And there is knowledge that you need to know to help you know what to do about your allergies or your baby's allergy. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, guys, this is the end of this series. And thank you so much for being with us. I really do hope that you've learned a thing or two. And I hope that you are going to, from now on, pay attention to what you're eating, even if you do not have an allergy. Right? Even if you do not have an allergy, please ensure that at least you are paying attention to what you are getting from the stores. Try and understand what the ingredients are for, so that you know what works for your body and you are taking in the right thing. And please also remember that supplements are your friends, right? Because again, unless you are sure that you're taking all your vitamins and you're having, a very balanced diet, you're very sure, then fine. But if you're not sure, then one way to supplement those vitamins that are missing is to actually be on supplements. All right. So maybe someday we're going to bring Mr. Ife back, since he's a pharmacist, right? Or we're going to have more pharmacy coming to tell us, okay, what kind of supplements are for what, so that, we also know what to do, because there's so many supplements out there. So like, how do I know? So does it mean that for every vitamin I would have one supplement that I'll be taking. So I have vitamin C, I have vitamin B complex, I have vitamin E, omega-3, this one, cranberry juice, probiotics. How many days? Doesn't that feel like I'm on drugs? Right. So hopefully if you want us to do that, actually, I'm open to playing my own tiny role in that. If you want us to do that, like bring on pharmacists to come, just share their knowledge in this regard to help you make the right decision, please send me an email and I'll make that happen for you. Thank you one more time for being on the show today. This is the Energetic EJ and this is the Stretch Street podcast. I'm going to leave all of Ifethebaker's detail in the description of this video and of the audio podcast, so you can go check him out. And if you want to make an order, especially if you're in Nigeria, please do go ahead and make an order and tell them, oh, I saw you on Stretch Street podcast. Maybe that's when we'll make him give you some discount. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Till I come your way again next week with yet another story. Remain amazing, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for watching today's episode. I really do hope that you found it valuable. All right, if you did, please visit us again next week when we will put out another episode. In case you forgot at the beginning or at the middle, now is a good time to click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you don't get to miss any of our episodes. All right, till we come your way again next week, remember also to read the description of this video for any links that might be there that would help you or also help you support the work that we do here. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.